Hey, listeners. This is Brett Hespel of the Porter Pridecast. Just wanted to thank you for joining the show, but we also want to make sure you follow along. So here's our other host, Adam DeCare. We'll talk about where you can follow us.
Yeah. Again, thanks for logging in, giving us a listen. Make sure to follow us on all your social media needs on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at Porter Pridecast for both. So give us a like, give us a retweet, spread the word, tell all your friends, tell all your followers, like both those accounts, and keep on coming back.
And you can get the show, you can get our podcast wherever you find your podcasts. And you can also check out Porter Pridecast TV on YouTube. Just search Porter Pridecast on both, and you'll be able to come up with them. So make sure you subscribe to both of those channels so you can get all the episodes when they come out.
Don't forget to leave us those reviews, preferably 5 stars, and keep spreading the word. Go Porters.
Go Porters. Welcome to the Porter Pridecast. Back at ya. I'm one of your hosts, Brett Hespel, boys basketball coach, social studies teacher at Lockport High School, joined by one of our other hosts, Adam DeCare, football coach and social studies teacher, also at Lockport High School. And you are back on the Porter Pridecast, where you get analysis on all things Lockport Porters that you do not get anywhere else. Right, DeCare?
That's right. I mean, we told you we'd be back, that we wrapped up our top 10 highlight series. We said we had something in the works, and as always, we follow through here on the Porter Pridecast. So we've got something exciting planned that we're ready to kick off here with this new series, and I'm really excited to get going, highlighting some history here. You know, with both of us being social studies teachers, it'll be good to talk to some legends and highlight some. That's what I do.
Clever. So yeah, we are unveiling our decade series. So it is 2020, and we just finished up the 2010 decade, and we are going to run through some of the sports at Lockport High School now that we're in the summer here, to kind of give you a look back at some of the legends and the great moments of the past decade in all of our sports. And we are going to be joined with various Lockport legends who have, graduated relatively recently, but experienced big-time success in whatever sport they were in. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to, include some alumni and just some supporters of either former players or former player families, or just fans of various sports, who maybe don't follow or keep in up to date with what's happening with Lockport now. So that was obviously the point of the original series, was to highlight all the positives from a shortened school year and everything that happened with the school year that just finished up. But now we want to really incorporate a lot of that history and tradition, since that's what makes Lockport such a special place. So this will be an awesome opportunity.
People want more.
Yeah, I mean,
they got a small taste of the Pridecast. They just want more now. Got
to give the people what they want. The viewers have spoken. So
we're just gonna roll with this over the summer here. Nothing else is going on. To be honest, you drive past the school and there's like 4 cars out there. I see Mr. Greenin's car and two other people, and so we gotta focus on something. So we're bringing some legends back. We got a couple in store for you here in episode 7, and really looking forward to it. So
so basically our format is we're going to kind of talk about we're going to name an athlete of the decade for each respective sport that we will cover, and then we're going to focus on a team of the decade. So maybe that's awards. Yes. And maybe even if time bearing, we might even be able to talk about a moment of the decade. So you never. Sometimes things get a little carried away here on the Pridecast. So
it's like the Academy Awards, but better. It's basically how I would describe it.
Probably the same amount of viewers, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe not exactly.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to give away our future award show that we have planned. I mean,
That is true. There's a lot in store. I mean, these people don't even understand. We just got stuff coming at them. It's gonna be great. Yeah. So anyway, let's just get started here. So the
let's
first
do it.
of our decade series, we're gonna focus on the football team, and we're gonna run through some of the highlights of the decade. So I guess should we do like a little? Should we unveil it? See, there's really no script for this
Yeah.
because it's a groundbreaking show. The Pridecast.
First of its kind. Yes.
First of its kind. There's really no format. It's like it's the creative geniuses behind it, who you've seen and met already in the first 6 episodes, and you see right now. If you're watching on Porter Pridecast TV on YouTube, if you're listening on wherever you get your podcasts, then you know you're missing out on the good looks of to carry myself. But instead, you have to deal with the melodious tones of our voices, which is like a great second prize.
Soothing is what we've been told.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely how I would describe it. So, all right, let's here. That's a drum roll, in case you couldn't hear it. But we will unveil our Lockport football team of the decade, the 2011 Lockport Porters. He's got the shirt on, ladies and gentlemen. The 2011 State Playoff Porters.
Right here, right now.
Right here, right now. Let me just run through some stuff, and then you coach the sport, so you can throw a few comments in before we're joined by our first legend. So the 2011 Porters, in 2010, they went 5-4, making the playoffs before losing to York, who was highly seeded in a 21-14 game. So it was a close game, almost moved on to the next round. And the sophomores in 2010 went 8-1, with their only loss coming to Lincoln Way East, 27-13. So thank you to the research department of the Pridecast for getting it. So going into the 2011 season, there was definitely some hope. Coach Brett Coy had just stepped down that summer to move on to other opportunities. And he was replaced by Don McKillop. And the Porters kind of switched their offense around a little bit, and it was just a new look. But let me run through real quick. So it was week 1, a victory over Downers Grove North to kick the season off. Week 2, a victory over Plainfield North. Week 3, a loss to Lincoln Way East. That was followed up by back-to-back wins over Joliet Central and Lincoln Way Central. And then a loss to HF in week 6. Beat Joliet West in week 7. Big win over Sandburg in week 8. And then week 9 lost to Bolingbrook, who did they win state that year? They might have won state that year. They might have been definitely in the championship game.
Yeah, I mean they were
really
a very. That was a time when they were a powerhouse year in year out. Top 5 state ranking. I'd have to double check. I feel like they might have.
This isn't the Raider Pridecast.
Yeah, no.
So the Porters went 6-3, making the playoffs.
Look it up yourself, all you Raider Nation.
Yeah, look it up yourself. Went 6-3, made the playoffs. They were seeded 13th in the top half of the bracket, where they played Chicago Simeon, who won the Chicago Public League and came in with a 7-2 record. Simeon had lost their first 2 games of that season. The research department did a great job in this episode.
I can't speak highly enough about the research department here.
They were 0-2, and then they won 7 straight games to go into the playoffs with the 4 seed. And then the Porters with a dramatic win, 18-15, came down to the wire. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the show here. And then in the second round, they played a great HF team and lost, finishing up with a 7-4 record. So 2011 Lockport football team of the decade. What do you think about that, DeCare?
Yeah, I mean, it's, just hearing that run through and just, reflecting back on that season, it was a lot of change, like you highlighted, with Coach Coy stepping down and Coach McKillop taking over. I played for Coach Coy as a Porter myself, and then was fortunate enough to coach my first 2 seasons.
in the last decade.
Yeah. When you said decade, I got excited. I thought it was. Then I did the math, and I realized it was 10, not 20. So, no, but getting to coach my first 2 years with Coach Coy before he stepped down. Obviously, that was like a dream come true. But like you said, Coach McKillop came in. He had been coaching at Lockport, so it wasn't like somebody brand new came in. Just moved up from the sophomore staff. Brought a new attitude, a new look, new jersey design, new helmet design, a new offense. So it was a lot of change. But like you read off with the results, we had a lot of talent coming back from a disappointing end to a 2010 season. You talked about that loss at York. That one still gets me. Had some injuries in that game. Danny Holman, our all-state running back, got injured late in the third quarter. That definitely, the tank, and that kind of changed the scope of things. But that was a team that we snuck into the playoffs, but we really liked the draw that we had. And I think we get past that York game, and I think we could have made a run. But, we had all that momentum coming back because we knew Billy, Reed was a returning starter at quarterback. We had some key pieces coming back. And like you said, we had a really successful regular season. Obviously, we lost to East, HF, and Bolingbrook, which, for many years, those are looked at as three of the top teams in our very competitive conference. But just a lot of great memories that, I'm sure we'll talk about with some of our guests. But, that sixth victory over Sandburg late in the season, just to clinch that playoff, obviously great to beat Sandburg, but, that overtime victory. And then obviously the playoff win against Simeon that you just mentioned, close game. And unfortunately, with some of that research, that is the last playoff victory we've had, in the only playoff victory in this decade, which I wish that statistic was different, but great memories from that season. So just excited to kind of take that trip down memory lane from 2011. I guess that's a positive sign that the T-shirt still fits-ish, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's true. You never know what happens over a decade. Especially
that's why you always order to size up just in case you start a podcast.
Grow into it. Yeah, like I do with my kids' clothes. Grow into it. So that brings us to the point where it is now time to unveil our Lockport football player of the decade. Coming in live on the show right now. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Billy Reed. Yes. There he is.
You're the producer of the year.
Yeah.
Mr. Hessel.
There he is. Oh,
just a little delayed, but it's all right. There's some technical difficulties.
Hey, you know what?
All good things are worth waiting for.
So we have with us Mr. Billy Reed from the class of 2012. Let me run through some of his accomplishments here, DeCare, and then we will get down to what we really all want to hear, which is his thoughts. I think people want to hear my thoughts.
Just grab your popcorn because this list might take a while with all the
it's going to be a while. Here we go. All right, here we go.
It's still understated.
Yeah. We rounded some stats down just to keep it modest. So here we go. Billy Reed was a 2-star recruit who started at quarterback for 2 seasons for the Porters and served as a 2-year captain. He threw for over 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns in his career while rushing for over 750 yards and another 14 rushing touchdowns. He was also a 4-year basketball player, 3 years on the varsity, helping the Porters to 2 regional championships. Played 3 seasons of baseball and was all-conference, setting a school record with 36 stolen bases. His senior year, he ran track, where he was the IHSA sectional champion in the 110-meter hurdles before finishing all-state in that same race in 6th place. In a rare feat, he was one of 2 all-staters for the Porters in that event in that season. His personal record time of 14.42 seconds is still the 4th fastest time in school history. I must say that his hurdle coach was phenomenal.
I knew you were going to throw that in there.
Gotta throw it in there. I don't know if anyone knows who that guy is, but he went on to a stellar football career at Southern Illinois University, where he played wide receiver, catching 118 balls for over 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns. By his own admission, he also had some terrible punt return stats. So we are thrilled to welcome Billy Reed, a Lockport legend, onto the show. And Billy, it is our honor to officially crown you as the Lockport football player of the decade for the Porter Pridecast. So I know that's like really hits home, but that's
Give him the belt, baby.
yeah.
I mean, out of all the stats that you just read off, I think that's probably the most important one. I got to hang that up on my wall.
You got to add that to the bio.
Yes, clearly.
I do got to ask, since you threw in the hurdling coach, what happened to the hurdle streak? Is it still going on, or
no?
the
hurdle streak ended after 8 or 9 years in a row. So he's talking, folks, about we had this ridiculous streak of like 8 or 9 years in a row where a Porter qualified for the state meet in the hurdles. Billy was obviously part of that, and that ended in 2016, I think. 2015 maybe. Yeah, I think 2015.
That was due to the hurdle coach.
Yeah, the guy was a bum. Actually, I blame the indoor hurdle coach, Mr. Razzo. If anything goes wrong, it's always his fault. He's not listening. He doesn't even know how to work his computer.
Hey, he's a recurring guest, everyone.
He did come on the show. But Billy, we got it back on track last year. We had 2 qualifiers. One of them was a sophomore, so
damn.
Hopefully we would have gotten back on.
Yeah.
This year as well, but we didn't have a season. So.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go change my shirt. I thought this was a football episode. I wore the wrong T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well,
gotta get my track shirt on.
Well, I mean, we cover everything here, and so
that's true. All Access podcast.
Hespel took over as head coach after I left, so the only thing he coached me at was track, and he coached
and he was all-staters
every year
in one season. So it clearly had nothing to do with the coaching at all. He was just good. So anyway, so you've been good, Billy. You've been things are going well.
Yeah. It's a weird time, but it's weird for Lockport and SIU and all the sports. Today, I just saw the Big Ten canceled conference games. My college, SIU, was supposed to open with Wisconsin at Wisconsin, so I mean that's going to be a big hit. It's pretty sad because I know a lot of those guys look forward to those Big Ten games.
Yeah, it's definitely been unprecedented, I suppose.
Yeah,
so.
but it's good to be here.
Yes, let's
positive
focus on the
vibes only.
positive.
It's positive.
Let's
I know,
focus on
I
the
kind of brought down the
positives.
mood.
Yeah.
Get some somber music going here.
Rookie guest, like. All right, DeCare, you want to?
He's the athlete of the decade. He's not the guest of the decade so far.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's true. We got 10 years to go before we figure out who our guest of the decade is. So, might be.
I'm not a recurring guest yet. This is my first time.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know what we would bring you back on for.
We'll find something.
We'll find something. Oh, yeah.
We'll find something.
Yeah.
When you guys start the track podcast, I'll get on for that.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Because
don't
that's going
give
to have
ideas.
a lot of listeners. Oh, jeez. Well, DeCare, let's get down to business here. Let's talk about the it would have been the 2011 football season then?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Billy was a 2-year starter for us. So I had the pleasure of getting to coach Billy and on both those teams. My first year coaching was your sophomore year in 2009. So two quality seasons out of you as a starter. 2 playoff appearances. Obviously we're focusing on the 2011 season specifically, which we'll talk a little bit about. But those stats, I think those are really at a time when you started really to see that dual threat quarterback becoming a bigger role in high school with the zone read and all those option plays. And Billy, like you read off with the college stats, he's an athlete. He was an athlete who could play anywhere on the field. Unfortunately, he waited till college to come play the right position.
Heard they had good wide receiver coaches there. Didn't want to waste his time.
Yeah. I think that was something in rumblings around the community about that. But no, just a lot of success, both on the ground, in the air, so just kind of want to talk to you about, your thoughts on the regular season, kind of dynamic of the team, being a captain, being the quarterback, the leader on the field, off the field, just kind of talk to us a little about the season. At one point, did you and your teammates realize, hey, we got a chance to be pretty good and make the playoffs and possibly make a run? So just kind of your thoughts there on the regular season.
Yeah, I would say it would even date back to like 2010. We were the 16 seed playing the 1 seed York in the playoffs. Yep. I still remember throwing an interception to the outside linebacker. I was throwing to Sean Frayne, but that kind of sealed the game. I don't want to talk about that, but at that point, we after losing that game, the seniors the would-be seniors next year kind of came together like, oh, we're much better than we gave ourselves credit for, and we really did. You were able to see it in the summer. Just the workouts in the field house. That was, I believe, the first year that Seta trained the football team, or second year. So that was a big help. We had a pretty formal summer training program. Not that we did it before, but it was more of a focus for sure. And just that summer, we kind of came together. We knew we had a lot of talent coming back. There was some changing in the coaching staff, but we just as a team, it didn't really care who was coaching us. Even though that you were, but didn't mean to come out like that.
Wow.
But no, it actually was.
The truth comes out.
But no, you could tell just in every year I still remember, because I know going to college and hearing about other high school programs, not every high school program had like the overnight trip, where we camped at the gym or went on a kayak or canoe trip. We went paintballing. That camp is not as common as it was in other high schools. So that was good to see from, Lockport. We came together in camp, and just I went down early in the year, and Kyle Smart stepped up, and you could tell like whatever kind of got in our way, just the team was going to kind of overcome that, because we had a lot of talent and a lot of good guys on that team.
Well, you mentioned Smart. why don't you talk about some of the other guys from that team who, made it easier for you to make plays? Because obviously a lot of people some people will recognize, you can mention them too, but anybody else that stands out that maybe might have been forgotten over the course of the past
Dexter Taylor also played in college. He switched positions in college, and he kind of carried the load senior year. He was a little overlooked just because we had the tank, Dan Holman, our junior year, and he played receiver, and then he switched right back to running back. He carried the load. Brad Johnson was also a captain. He was kind of the vocal leader, I'd say, the middle linebacker. Zach Wolf played in college. Connor Wilson was a captain. We had Sean Quay at corner. Just every position group had some kind of like veteran guys who we played together since some Pee-wee football, some freshman year we started on the A team all together. So we had a lot of chemistry just playing together every year.
Well, let's see. So Dexter played at Bemidji, right?
Yeah, he played at Bemidji up in Minnesota.
And then
Zach Wolf played in Butler in Indianapolis.
Brad Johnson obviously went to Oklahoma to wrestle.
Sean Quay finished his career wrestling at Northern Illinois.
Started at Nebraska, and then transferred to Northern.
And that's right there. That's quite a list right there.
Connor Hart, I think, was my center, and I think he's still playing arena football.
There you go. Yeah.
He played in college, and then he's playing arena football. I think I saw him maybe a year ago, and he said he finally hung it up. But
yeah, he left the coaching staff. He was the pride and joy down in the freshmen, getting those guys ready, and then he had to say, I'm off to play. But no, he had a good career at Robert Morris and was doing an awesome job as a young coach.
There was like every position group there was a senior veteran guy at that position, which helped a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Tommy Hook played receiver. He ended up playing baseball at Northern Illinois. So
Hook is gonna be joining this episode in a little bit.
He actually texted me. He was our leading receiver with 13 catches.
Yes, yes.
I said in a game, right? Please tell me a game.
Not in one game in a season.
Different style there. I'm running through I'm looking at the schedule right here. So week 1, beat Downers Grove North. Week 2, beat Plainfield North. Week 3, lost to Lincoln Way East. Then beat Joliet Central, blew out Lincoln Way Central. Week 6, lost to HF. Week 7, beat Joliet West. Week 8 with the big win over Sandburg. And then week 9 was a loss to Bolingbrook before the playoffs. Do you remember anything about any of those games in particular that – I mean, I always like it when we beat Sandburg. So.
Oh, that is probably – that Sandburg and Simeon were probably the 2 biggest wins because we knew if we had 5 wins going into the Sandburg game. And not that we couldn't beat Bolingbrook, but they were like they were probably like the number 1 team in the state at the time or top 10. So the Sandburg game meant a lot more. And we went into overtime with them. And I believe Jeff Patterson caught a corner touchdown to go into, or Mike Halderman. Jeff Patterson caught a 4th down and 10 conversion. Mike Halderman next play catches a touchdown. We go to overtime, and then Dex scores the winning touchdown in overtime. I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sealed the playoffs because we got 6 wins. And then my knee swelled up after that game. It was because I twisted it pretty bad, and then I ended up sitting out the Bolingbrook game. I remember, but definitely it always helps when you beat Sandburg for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean that game still, just hearing you replay those last few plays. I mean, I forgot who had the picture. I think it was DeGraw's dad had an awesome picture at one of our banquets of that celebration in the end zone right after Dex scores that touchdown. I think literally it's Tommy's jumping in Wolf's arm, and just the whole team is just, I got chills right now.
I still remember coming in the huddle. It was like 4th and 10, and we were down a touchdown. I mean, 4 plays later, we ended up winning. You would have never thought being down 4th and 10, catching like a 15-yard pass over the middle, touchdown, overtime. I think we stop them or something, and then Dex scores and game's over, like that quick.
I mean, I think I remember that game correctly because probably last year I just randomly, got into a huddle wormhole and started watching some old film and through that game, man. And I'm pretty sure Dex took the opening kickoff to the house.
Uh-huh.
So you talk about just a roller coaster of a game. Obviously that game's a huge game no matter what. But being at home, that was the gold jersey night. That Coach surprised you guys with, and senior night, like all those things. But just the emotion of that game and just what it meant to get us into the playoffs.
And I have to say that those gold jerseys are not lost anymore to care. They are now given out to the rebounder of the week in the basketball program. Just for a photo op. It's like the award now.
The rebounder of the week, I like it.
We got some in the cave. Maybe we could sell those to get some money for the Pridecast here.
Oh, yes. Get some.
I hear you guys need some podcast equipment.
Yeah, we need a lot of stuff. We're just glad we have guests at this point. So,
as long as we can play our internet bill to do these Zoom meetings.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Simeon game. So 6-3 into the playoffs. You draw Simeon, who was I wrote
4 seed.
Yeah, they were 7-2 coming in. And then the final score was 18-15. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
18-15. Yeah. So talk to us about that game. By the way, you had 17 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, I didn't know we kept stats.
Well.
Oh yeah.
That was an IHSA game, so it was probably.
Oh, so it's yeah. But no, I
we do our research here.
Yeah, our research assistant actually.
I'm surprised at the stats department here on the Porter Pridecast.
Top notch.
You're pulling out stats I've never even heard of.
See.
You never know what you're gonna get when you come out.
Right. That's right.
But no, I vividly remember that game too. It was freezing out, and Simeon was the top public school in the state that year. They actually, if you lose in the first 2 rounds, you get entered into the Chicago Public League playoff because it's after the IHSA. And they ended up winning that year because we knocked them out early. But I remember like watching some film on them before, kind of studying up on them, and we knew that we had a shot. I still remember like carrying. I don't know what Russell was doing up in the booth, but he was calling my number like every play. I remember carrying the ball a lot. I also remember like another like fourth down handoff to Richie Guess, I think.
Yes.
Yep,
Or
that
like
was the
counter.
clincher.
That was the clincher. I remember we were down. It was like a 2-minute drive. And the final play was a handoff to Richie Guess for a touchdown. And I remember hitting Zach Wolf over the middle or Sam Stramalia. But no, that was a really cold but close game, I remember.
Well, I remember the weather. So here's my thing. Kara, I don't know if you even knew this. So I come to the game. It was at Gately Stadium in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I come to the game with Coach Razzo and Coach Thompson. We drove up there together. And so we get there, we park, we pay, buy our tickets, we come in, we sit down. It's freezing cold. And all of a sudden, somebody on the sidelines is like pointing at the three of us and like motioning us because we're kind of sitting off by ourselves. And so we go walking down there, and they're like, there's no chains crew. Simeon, the home team was supposed to provide it. They didn't have a chains crew. So, like, you guys are on the chains. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, you guys, you've all done it before. I mean, I still do it. And they're like, you're on the chains. So we, like, walk out there. We're just on the chains. Of course, we're the home team's supposed to do it. It's them. So we're on Lockport sideline. Got all my Lockport gear on, which is probably some sort of violation. But I distinctly remember, like, we're right in it the whole time. And so I remember these plays. I remember you coming, running the ball around the end on our sideline late in the game and just, like, putting your shoulder down and running over some guy. And I was that first down marker, and, like, that got the first down. I was like, I don't remember exactly, but it was a big play.
Now I know why we got the first down.
Because I was But,
I didn't put my shoulder down that much, but the marker moved a little bit.
Yeah, it was just got a little.
It's been that cold, windy night, you know.
Yeah. You just
I still remember that was the final drive. I think we ran like a quarterback draw or like a rollout like 3 times in a row, and every time it just opened up.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I feel like I vaguely remember you guys on the chains, and because I was up in the box with Russell, and I remember looking down and being like, why are those guys doing it? This is an IHSA playoff event.
Yep.
And we've got the all-state crew of chain gang there.
And
but no, that game.
At halftime, I went over to the ticket booth, and I was like, now listen, I paid $5 to get in, and I'm working. So the lady was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the chains over there. She's like, oh, here's your $5 back. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, but
great. Now the IHSA is going to review this, and we're going to become, the asterisk on the 2011 playoff victory. All because no, I mean, I remember that game. I believe we were down at halftime. I think we were getting shut out like 12-0.
Yeah,
I mean, I just remember me and Russell are up in the box, and Eddie pass play. They were just covering everything, and it was there. And I just remember you taking over that second half, even though we started calling more quarterback runs, but just taking those passes that everything's covered downfield and just using your strength and your legs and your vision. You single-handedly took over that second half, and obviously the final results. But yeah, I remember that counter to Guess, coming off the left side. Scoring, and then the 2-point conversion to Dex, and then that really that last drive when they were right there ready to score 4th down, and I mean I remember like wanting to put my head down. I was so nervous, and then I think it was Connor Wilson knocked down the pass over the middle, and that was that was
I want to say it was Connor Wilson and Steve Martinez.
Actually, I think Steve Martinez, one of the two. I think Martinez got credit in the paper.
You said the score was 18-15, right?
15, yeah.
It's a funny story. I played football in college with a guy that went to Simeon. He was their receiver, and he was actually their kicker. And he says he remembers like me playing quarterback too. But then also they were going to trot him out there to kick a field goal, but in warmups he like didn't hit a single field goal. So it was like I remember that because they were on the goal line and they could have kicked a field goal, but he was a toe basher and just missed every single thing in warmups. So the coach was like, "All right, we're going to go for it on 4th down." John hasn't hit a field goal all day.
Thank you, John. If you're out there listening, thank you.
Shout out John Gardner.
Because why wouldn't he be listening?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great. That was a huge win. And like you said, coming off the previous season. The previous year, you mentioned that York game. It was the final score was 21-14. So it was. I looked that up as well. Our research assistant looked that up as well. But yeah. So it was you guys had a great senior class of athletes in multiple sports, really. So it was good. Any other thoughts?
And I just remember playing like multiple sports with a lot of those guys that played football.
Yeah.
I mean, Dex started on the basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Ward even played football for a year.
Yeah, there you go.
With Tommy played baseball. A lot of those guys played baseball too.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, Sean Quay were wrestlers. Just a lot of guys played multiple sports too. So that was that was pretty good. But it's kind of sad to hear that was the last playoff victory at Lockport.
Yeah,
that's
but
one stat.
I heard from
one stat I wish was not accurate.
I heard from a little birdie though, if there's football this year, that Lockport's going to make it the playoffs.
Good squad this year. They got
That's what I'm hearing.
Good squad. Sophomores were undefeated, and they have a nice group of juniors coming back as seniors. So hopefully, get a chance to play.
Hopefully, there's football, and there's contact.
It's a whole different story. Let's talk about college then. So you went to SIU to play football. You obviously switched over to wide receiver. Maybe just talk about why SIU and what that switch was like, and then what your experience playing at a pretty high level of college football was like.
Yeah, I know the plan was kind of to switch me over to receiver my senior year. Correct me if I'm wrong, DeCare, but
that is true.
Yeah, so that would have been nice to get some reps in before, but I think it all worked out. I just was kind of an athlete, and I loved to play football, and I really wanted to be on the offensive side of the ball. There was a few schools recruiting me as a safety. I was never recruited as a quarterback. It was either kind of receiver or safety. And some of the MAC schools kind of backed off once I hurt my knee senior year. So really it was kind of some schools in the Missouri Valley that were looking at me, and SIU seemed like the right fit. They were actually going to kind of work at me at receiver, really like take the time to let me redshirt and kind of work on the fundamentals. So it worked out. They were true to their word, and I redshirted. I kind of spent the year just trying to learn receiver and catch balls for the first time, and ended up being a receiver and punt returner. Who would have thought, coming from quarterback?
I remember a couple of us got to go up, and when you were playing at ISU, going to get to watch you play there. But I don't want to talk about it at all. But you looked good out there. Kind of that. What was that transition like? Going from quarterback, you're kind of in charge of everything. You've got to know what every single person is doing on the field. You're responsible for calls, checks, and I have to know every single run play and every single pass play. And then all of a sudden now you switch to receiver. And, was that difficult to kind of give up some of the reins there? What was that transition like?
First of all, I want to say Illinois State was one of the only games I didn't have a catch in. And it was, of course, the game all the Lockport.
Bad luck.
All my Lockport buddies came to it. The coaches were there, and I didn't even have a catch. But no, it actually helped a lot. Being quarterback, kind of knowing each position, just because I was able to pick up the offense in college pretty quickly from, X, Z, Y. Actually running a similar offense with Coach Coy, receiver wise, was very beneficial too. Just knowing like the basics about kind of our offense and the receiver positions at a high school level, or even like a freshman level to senior level. I know Coach Coy installs it at an early age, so I know not a lot of high schools do, but that was really helpful, kind of learning the offense. And my college coach always used to say, if you don't know what you're doing, we can't put you out there, no matter if you run a 4.2, like 4.4. I mean, so just being in the right place at the right time helped a lot. And I do attribute a lot of that to playing quarterback, which helped.
What was it like being a college football player? What would you?
It was a lot different than high school. It was a big reality check that first camp. everyone is faster than you or your speed. Everyone's bigger than you. It was high school was a lot different. College was in reality like a job. If you guys had a losing season, your coach is fired, and that actually happened to me in college. My coach got fired after my junior year because we didn't make the playoffs. But before that, it's a job. Every day is a lot different. It was a lot different. It was a big adjustment freshman year, but once you kind of put on some weight and understand what college football is like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I remember you coming back and talking at our Legends of Lockport camp with our youth kids, and I remember you talking about some of your Stallions memories and you playing with your teammates in high school were some of the best memories, because when you go on, it's obviously the same game, but it's a whole different level and you're getting the best of the best. So obviously you just with your bio, being a football player, being a baseball player, playing basketball, then doing track your senior year, what was it about competing in all those sports, being an athlete at Lockport, that really helped you excel, as a college athlete?
Yeah, I definitely think I'm all for kids playing multiple sports, but I get why a lot of kids specialize now. But definitely just that competition factor. I mean, just summer workouts, winter workouts, you're competing with guys that are faster than you or, older than you. So just that competition helps you get better. Being around guys that are better than you, just that competition that kind of came from Lockport and just playing a sport every single year or every single season really helped a lot. And I've always been a big fan of kids playing multiple sports. But I do understand some of the specialization now with just like recruiting and all that. But no, it was a big help.
You got any other advice you would give to current Porter athletes just about being successful as an athlete, or if they, want to go on to play college athletics, anything that looking back on it, you're like, oh, like this is something that you should really focus in on?
Really put me on the spot there.
That's what we do here. I mean, for a guy who is been just named football player of the decade, we have high expectations for you to come through with some.
No, I would still say, I would reiterate that,
I got the whole team listening right now. The whole team is listening in the other room.
Stallions in high school football were some of the best memories. And if you even strive to play in college, I mean, it can't be half-ass. It's got to be, you want to do it. There's no kind of 1 foot one in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
If you want to play in college, you got to commit to it. And it's a real job. So I would advise the kids that are thinking about it, if they're not 100% sure, it's not for you.
Well, Takara, what else you got? Anything else for William Reed?
No, I mean, obviously, I think Coach Hespel could say the same thing for the basketball program, but just being, an alumni myself with the football program at Lockport, obviously some of the greatest memories of my life, getting to go back and coach there. I know what Lockport football means to me, and I think it's just no matter what year you play, I think it's a collective brotherhood. So just kind of, what are your thoughts on Lockport football as a program? Like, what does the program mean to you?
Oh yeah, still to this day, after I graduated from SIU, I would check the SIU score on Saturday or on Sunday or Saturday, and I'd check the Lockport score on Saturday morning. And it sucks that we haven't been in the playoffs. But no, I still follow it as close as I can now, and it's still like a special place for me. And some of my greatest memories were playing high school football for sure.
And now he's going to add to the list of listening to the Porter Pridecast.
Yes.
It's just one thing to add on,
So he checks all those scores, yeah. Oh my God, what's the next episode?
Oh, yeah, when's that dropping?
You got to subscribe to the alerts now for the new episode.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's what everyone's doing.
Or you'd be the first, one of the two.
You got to say somewhere.
Yeah. No, Lockport is still – I still try and follow it to this day, and it's definitely a special place.
anything else for Billy here?
No, I mean, it's obviously we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy night here to come talk to. You said weird times. Never thought you'd be talking to your old high school coaches on a podcast, Pridecast, whatever we're doing here. But
Billy's in Cincinnati right now, so he is our first out-of-state guest. That's how far this is.
I didn't think my former coaches would be doing a podcast, first of all, and then I didn't think I'd be talking to them from Cincinnati.
2020 is a crazy year. It's a crazy year. No, but like I said, we really appreciate having you on. It's great to hear that you're doing well, with your personal life and being successful. It's always great to keep in touch with former players, but yeah, I mean, just talking about some of those seasons, 2010, 2011, a lot of great memories, and we really kind of had that ball rolling. And then going into your senior season, new coach, kind of a new look, new offense, and like you said, we just had so many athletes and so many good leaders. I think that's what was so good about that team was the leadership. And I think that's why all those players you named off, went on and competed in all those different sports at some very competitive colleges. You guys took all of that in stride and you ran with it. And like you said, last playoff victory, I wish that stat was a little different. But that's a great season that I'll definitely never forget. So, it was a pleasure then and obviously a pleasure now. So thanks for coming on and congrats on the title of the football player of the decade, Billy Reed.
Plaque is in the mail.
It was an honor. Yeah. I'm hoping I get a T-shirt, maybe a plaque, something in the mail.
Someday.
And if it doesn't show up, blame the mail because we can only do so much once we send it out.
It's out of our hands at that point.
But Billy, thanks a lot for coming on. Like DeCare said, it's been great to relive some memories. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Always great to hear, how old men like you now are doing well.
I still got some chills thinking about Simeon and the Sandberg game. So it was good to talk about those again. I haven't talked about those in a while.
Well, best of luck to you, sir. And keep following along and don't be a stranger. And I'm sure everybody who remembers all the excellence when you were in high school will appreciate getting to hear from you. So
yeah, it was an honor to be on. I'll definitely keep listening. I'm an award-winning listener.
There you go. All right, Billy. Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you, buddy.
Take care, Billy.
So that was Billy Reed, who Coach DeCare and I are glad to officially name as the Lockport Football Player of the Decade for the decade from 2010 to now 2020. I mean, Billy was he was great. He was baseball, basketball, football.
Yeah, I mean, he did. Yeah, I mean, he did a little bit of everything.
Who comes out for track their senior year and is all state in an event? And not like he just ran 100 meter. It was the hurdles. Yeah. Like that's how good
Billy Reed does. Billy Reed does. No, he was just obviously a great athlete, but just a great kid. Great leader. That's always my pleasure is getting to keep in touch with some of those athletes. But then, Billy to come back and visit at our youth camps, speak at our youth camps, I think that just speaks to the type of character he is, and you could just tell how much Lockport athletics, meant to him, not just football. So yeah, that was a nice trip down memory lane.